Hey, Pi family! Are you lying awake at night wondering if your Pi coins will become completely worthless by 2026? Look, I get it. I've been mining Pi for years too, and honestly, the recent news has me worried. A bombshell report just dropped showing that half of all Pi holders think our beloved project is going to crash and burn within 2 years. If you're feeling scared, confused, or even betrayed by what's happening with Pi Network, then you're definitely in the right place. I'm about to share 3 brutal truths that every Pi miner needs to hear, and trust me, some of this might hurt to listen to. Before we dive into this tough conversation, you know what would mean the world to me? If you could follow my Telegram and Facebook pages, the links are right there in the description. I share exclusive Pi Network updates there that I don't post anywhere else, and honestly, with everything that's happening right now, you're going to want those insider details. Guys, I have to be real with you about something that's been eating at me. Pi coin crashed from $3.40 down to just $0.344, and watching that 90% drop happen felt like getting punched in the gut. I remember when we all celebrated hitting that $3.40 peak, we thought we were finally going to the moon. You know what really breaks my heart though? The trading volume is only $28.9 million daily for a project worth $2.75 billion on paper. That tells me something I didn't want to admit. People have stopped caring about Pi, and that terrifies me more than any price drop ever could. In my honest opinion, this isn't just a market correction anymore. When I see these numbers, I think we're witnessing the slow death of community interest. And without community, what is Pi Network really? Just another failed crypto dream. You know what keeps me up at night? Those massive token unlocks that are coming like a freight train. We just saw 163 million Pi tokens worth $60 million flood the market, and let me tell you something, that felt like watching a dam burst. But here's what really scares me. Another 160 million tokens are unlocking in August, and over the next year we're talking about 1.27 billion tokens hitting the market. That's $2.5 billion worth of selling pressure. Here's my brutal, honest opinion. I don't think there's enough demand to absorb this supply tsunami. I've been in crypto long enough to know what happens when you dump this much supply into a market that's already losing interest. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a massive hole in the bottom. The math just doesn't work, and I'm genuinely worried we're about to watch Pi's value get completely destroyed by its own tokenomics. Can I be completely honest with you about something? The Mainnet delays have me questioning everything I believed about this project. We've been promised a fully functional mainnet for so long that I've lost count, and millions of us have completed KYC verification, but we're still waiting and waiting and waiting. You know what this reminds me of? Those relationships where someone keeps promising they'll change, but never actually does it. My personal take? The PiCore team either doesn't have the technical capability to deliver what they promised, or they're deliberately stalling for reasons they won't tell us. Neither scenario makes me feel confident about investing more time or hope into this project. When I see other blockchain projects launching fully functional networks in months, while we're still stuck in beta after years, it makes me wonder if we've been backing the wrong horse this whole time. You know what really haunts me? How similar Pi Network's situation is starting to feel to FTX right before it collapsed. I was there when FTX seemed invincible, and the parallels are terrifying. Limited exchange listings, liquidity concerns, and a community that's starting to lose faith. These are the exact warning signs that smart investors recognized before FTX imploded overnight. Here's what I think is happening, and this might hurt to hear. Pi Network is becoming isolated from the broader crypto ecosystem. When major exchanges won't list your token and the community is losing confidence, you're in the danger zone. In my opinion, the PiCore team has failed to build the partnerships and credibility needed for long-term survival, and now we're paying the price for their isolation strategy. Let me give you my unfiltered opinion about what's really happening here. When 50% of your own community thinks the project will fail, you're not dealing with a temporary setback anymore. That's not just a rough patch or a dip in the charts, it's a full-blown crisis of confidence. Once that many people start doubting the future of a project, it creates a ripple effect that's very hard to stop. Doubt spreads faster than optimism, and when the foundation of belief cracks, everything built on it begins to shake. I've watched enough crypto projects die to know that community sentiment is everything. Technology, partnerships, and tokenomics all matter, but without a community that believes, none of those things can survive. And right now, the reality is clear. Our sentiment is in the toilet. If that doesn't change soon, the project risks collapsing under the weight of its own lost trust. You know what I think every pie holder needs to accept? We might have been wrong about this project. It hurts to say that because I believed in the vision, I spent years mining and I convinced friends and family to join. But the evidence is piling up, and ignoring it won't make our pie tokens more valuable. Here's where I'm going to be brutally honest with you, and some of you might not like what I'm about to say. I think we're at a crossroads where we need to decide if we're investors or just hopeful dreamers. This isn't an easy choice because the emotional attachment we've built over years of mining and believing in the vision makes it hard to let go. But emotions alone can't change the reality staring us in the face. The data is screaming that Pi Network is in serious trouble. Declining interest, token unlock pressures, and endless mainnet delays are all red flags we can't afford to ignore. At the same time, our hearts are telling us to hold on, to hope for that big turnaround, and to keep believing that somehow things will fall into place. That conflict between logic and hope is exactly what defines this moment, and how we respond to it could determine whether we protect ourselves or end up with nothing. My personal opinion, hope is not an investment strategy. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that if we just wait long enough, everything will magically turn around. But in reality, ignoring obvious warning signs has never saved an investment. In fact, in most cases, it makes the eventual loss even worse. If you're holding Pi hoping for a miracle while brushing aside all these red flags, you might be setting yourself up for massive disappointment. The truth is, successful investing requires facing uncomfortable realities head-on. That means asking tough questions about whether the fundamentals support long-term growth, or if we're just clinging to wishful thinking because we've already put in so much time and effort. I'm not saying you should dump everything tomorrow, but I am saying it's time to step back and be brutally realistic about what we're dealing with here. Take a clear look at the data, the community sentiment, and the core team's track record. Once you do, the decision about whether to keep holding or to walk away becomes less about blind faith and more about protecting yourself from unnecessary losses. You know what I want to leave you with? The truth. Even when it's uncomfortable. I started this channel because I believed in Pi Network's potential, and I'm not going to lie to you now just to make us all feel better. The situation looks bad, really bad, and pretending otherwise won't help anyone. That said, I'm going to keep following this story and sharing updates on my Telegram and Facebook pages because you deserve to know what's happening, good or bad. If you found value in this honest analysis, you know what would help me continue creating content like this? Hit that like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more no-nonsense crypto analysis. You know what's coming next? More hard truths about crypto projects that are failing their communities? I won't sugarcoat it, and I won't feed you hopium just for views. Stay subscribed if you want the real story behind the hype, because in this market, the truth might be the only thing that saves your portfolio.